Man, these games aren't worth just your money. They'll steal what's most precious to you, your time. You think you're in control until you step into these open worlds. They'll literally steal your life, and you'll thank me for it. Let's get to the list. Number 1, Grand Theft Auto 5. Look, we've all been in Los Santos for over a decade now, but there's a reason we don't leave. GTA 5 is the ultimate life thief. I remember the first time I switched from Franklin to Trevor and found him passed out on a beach in his underwear. That sensation of a world that keeps moving even when you aren't looking is what makes it so valuable. You aren't just playing a character, you're managing 3 chaotic lives in a city that feels like a breathing satire of modern life. The gameplay is the gold standard for doing whatever the hell you want. One minute I'm planning a high-stakes heist with cinematic camera angles, and the next I'm just driving through the Winewood Hills listening to the radio. The impactful emotion hits you in those quiet moments between Michael and his family. You realize he's just a guy who succeeded at the wrong things. If I'm being honest, the shooting mechanics feel a bit dated now compared to modern FPS games, and the wanted system can be annoying when you just want to explore. But the sheer amount of content? It's insane. This is where the game changed for me, when I stopped trying to finish the story and just started living in the sandbox. You'll spend 50 hours just messing with the physics and never get bored. It's the ultimate just 5 more minutes game. 2. Just Cause 3. If GTA is a satire, Just Cause 3 is a 1980s action movie on steroids. This game stole my life purely through the sensation of chaos. You play as Rico Rodriguez, and your only job is to blow up everything owned by a dictator. The wingsuit and grappling hook combo? Man, that ruined travel in every other game for me. Flying over the Mediterranean-inspired islands of Medici feels so liberating. The gameplay is built on creative destruction. I spent an entire afternoon just tethering gas canisters to enemy soldiers and watching them fly into the sky like fireworks. There is zero realism here, and that's why it's so addictive. You don't play this for a deep philosophical story, you play it for the memory of tethering 2 jet fighters together and watching the explosion from a parachute. The downside is that the performance can chug a bit when too many things explode at once, and the side challenges can feel like a grind just to get upgrades. But who cares? When you're soaring through a military base, rain of fire below you, you feel like a god. I didn't expect this moment, but I ended up spending more time just playing with the physics than actually doing the missions. It's pure, unadulterated fun that eats your clock for breakfast. 3. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This game is a literal mountain of content. Assassin's Creed Valhalla doesn't just ask for your time, it demands it. I remember stepping off the longship into the English countryside for the first time. The sensation of the fog and the ancient ruins, it's incredibly moody. You play as Eivor, and the journey from Norway to England feels like a true Viking saga. It's a slow burn journey that makes you feel the weight of every axe swing. The gameplay is massive. You're raiding monasteries, building your settlement of Ravensthorpe, and forging alliances across the kingdoms. The world events replace the old boring side quests, and they're so much better. I once helped a guy who had an axe stuck in his head, and it's a memory that still makes me laugh. The impactful emotion comes from Eivor's struggle with their Norse identity versus the changing world. The main problem is that it's almost too big. If you're a completionist, this game will steal 150 hours of your life and still have things for you to do. It can feel a bit repetitive in the mid-game alliance arcs, but when you're leading a raid, blowing your horn, and seeing your crew hit the shore, the adrenaline is real. That's when I realized something was different. I wasn't an assassin, I was a conqueror. 4. Marvel's Spider-Man. Swinging through Manhattan in Marvel's Spider-Man is the most therapeutic thing you can do in a video game. The sensation of momentum, the way the music swells as you dive off the Empire State Building is just perfection. I've spent literal hours just doing backflips over traffic, completely ignoring the emergency crimes happening nearby. It's the first game that actually made me feel like I was the webhead. The gameplay is fast, vertical, and fluid. Combat feels like a rhythmic dance of gadgets and punches, but the real life stealer here is the heart. This is a Peter Parker story as much as a Spider-Man one. Watching him balance his messy life, his relationships, and his duty to the city has a massive impactful emotion, especially when things start to go south with Doc Ock. By the end, I wasn't the same person. That final boss fight actually broke me a little. My only gripe? Some of the side activities, like catching pigeons or doing research station puzzles, feel a bit like busy work, but the main story and the traversal are so top tier that you won't mind. It's a game that makes you want to 100% the map just because being in Peter's shoes is so much fun. It's a polished, vibrant, and incredibly valuable experience. Number 5. Rage 2. If you took Mad Max and injected it with a gallon of pink neon and pure adrenaline, you'd get Rage 2. The sensation of the combat in this game is, honestly, some of the best in the entire industry. It's developed by id Software and Avalanche, so you get that Doom-style gunplay in a massive wasteland. I remember the first time I used the Shatter ability to literally blast an enemy out of their armor. It's a memory of pure, visceral power that I haven't found anywhere else. The gameplay is all about the push. You aren't hiding behind cover. You're dashing, double jumping, and using overdrive to turn into a god of destruction. This is where the game changed for me. I stopped caring about the map icons and just started driving the Phoenix toward every plume of smoke I saw on the horizon. The world feels like a playground for your powers. Now, the story is pretty thin, let's be real. You're not here for a deep narrative about the human condition, you're here to blow things up. The open world can feel a bit empty between the outposts, which is a bummer. But the second you step into a bandit camp and the music kicks in, you'll realize that's when something was different. You're not playing a survival game. You're the thing everyone else is trying to survive. It steals your time because the combat loop is just that addictive. 6. Saints Row. I'm talking about the classic Saints Row vibe here, specifically when the series decided to stop trying to be GTA and started being its own beautiful purple brand of insanity. The sensation of building your empire from a street gang to a global phenomenon is just a blast. It's all about the rule of cool. I spent so much time in the character creator alone. It's a life thief before you even start the first mission. The gameplay is pure, unfiltered chaos. Whether you're using a dubstep gun to make a whole street dance to their death, or jumping out of a jet just to sky surf on a tank, the game never says no to your bad ideas. I didn't expect this moment, but I found myself getting genuinely attached to my crew. The banter between the boss, Shondi, and Pierce makes the world feel like a home, even when it's a ridiculous one. The downside is that it can get a bit too wacky for some people, and the mission structure can feel a little dated. But the impactful emotion hits you when you realize that beneath the jokes, it's a story about loyalty. By the end, I wasn't the same person. I was the leader of the 3rd Street Saints, and I'd spend hours just customizing my cars and gang members. It's a value-packed sandbox that doesn't take itself seriously, and that's why it's perfect. 7. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Here he is, the White Wolf. The Witcher 3 didn't just steal my life, it moved in and started paying rent. The sensation of the wind howling through the trees in Velen while a Lelele track starts to play is something that still gives me goosebumps. You play as Geralt of Rivia, and the world feels so morally gray and dirty. It's not about saving the world, it's about a father trying to find his daughter in a world gone mad. The gameplay is legendary for its side quests. I've spent literal weeks of my life just doing contracts because the writing is so good. A simple quest to find a missing goat can turn into a tragic story about an ancient curse. The road mattered more than the destination in this game, because every village had a story that felt worth telling. And let's not even talk about Gwent. I've lost more time to that card game than I care to admit. My only gripe is that the combat can feel a little floaty compared to more modern action games, but the impactful emotion of the Red Baron's questline or the ending of the Blood and Wine DLC, that's 10 out of 10 stuff. This is where the game changed for me. When I realized I wasn't playing for XP anymore, I was playing because I genuinely cared about Ciri and Yennefer. It's a masterclass in world building that will steal your soul. Number 8. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. There's a reason we're still playing Skyrim more than a decade later. It is the ultimate life simulator. The sensation of stepping out of that cave in Helgen and realizing you can go anywhere is the peak of the open world genre. You aren't just a Dragonborn, you're whatever you want to be. I've had playthroughs where I didn't even touch the main quest for 50 hours because I was too busy being a master thief in Riften. The gameplay is all about discovery. You see a mountain, you can climb it. You see a weird glowing mushroom in a cave, there's probably an entire underground civilization down there. The memory of my first dragon fight, the music, the fire, the Fus Ro Da is a core gaming memory for me. That's when I realized something was different. I wasn't just following a story, I was writing my own. Let's be honest, it's buggy, the combat is a bit like swinging a pool noodle, and the voice acting is basically 5 people doing 100 voices. But none of that matters. The atmosphere of a blizzard in the Reach or the peace of a sunset in Whiterun is unmatched. It steals your life because it's a world that actually feels like it belongs to you. If you haven't lived a life in Skyrim, you haven't fully experienced what gaming can be. 9. Dragon's Dogma: Dark Arisen. If you want a game that feels like a true D&D adventure brought to life, Dragon's Dogma is your fix. The sensation of combat here is just different. You aren't just hacking at a monster's ankles, you are literally climbing a 3-story tall chimera while it's trying to shake you off. I remember the first time I grabbed onto a griffin's wing and it took off into the sky with me hanging on for dear life. That's a memory of pure epicness you just don't get in other RPGs. The gameplay is famous for the pawn system. You create your own AI companion, and they learn from your playstyle and even other players' worlds. I didn't expect this moment, but I actually started feeling a weird sense of pride when my pawn came back from another player's game with new knowledge and a gift. It makes the world feel connected in a very strange, cool way. The story is a bit bare bones until the very, very end, where it gets absolutely insane. And the constant walking back and forth can be a slog if you don't manage your stamina. But the combat? It's the gold standard. This didn't feel like progress, it felt like distance. Every time I ventured out into the dark at night, where it's actually pitch black and terrifying, I felt like I was on a real, dangerous trek. It's a cult classic for a reason. Number 10. Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm just gonna say it. Arthur Morgan is the best protagonist Rockstar has ever written. Red Dead Redemption 2 is less of a game and more of a life simulator set at the end of the Old West. The sensation of the world is heavy and deliberate. I've spent literal hours just hunting in the mountains or fishing by a lake, completely forgetting that there's a main story. The level of detail, the way Arthur brushes his horse, or the way the snow deforms, is actually borderline scary. The gameplay forces you to slow down. You can't just sprint everywhere, you have to take care of your camp, your guns, and yourself. The impactful emotion hits you in the quiet moments, like sitting by the fire, listening to Dutch's latest plan while the gang sings songs. That's when I realized something was different. I wasn't just playing as an outlaw, I was mourning a way of life that was disappearing. The only downside is that it can feel too slow for some people. The animations take time, and the movement can feel a bit sluggish. But for me, that's the charm. By the end, I wasn't the same person. I felt the weight of every choice Arthur made. It's a 60-hour tragedy that steals your life because it's so convincingly real. You don't just finish this game, you survive it. Number 11, Far Cry 6. Now, if you want a tropical playground that's all about the vibes, Far Cry 6 is a total time sink. The sensation of being in Yara, this frozen-in-time Caribbean island, is just gorgeous. You play as Donnie Rojas, and for the first time in a while, the Far Cry protagonist actually feels like a real person who talks and sings along to the radio. But the real star is Giancarlo Esposito as Anton Castillo. He brings this cold, terrifying gravity to every scene he's in. The gameplay is classic Far Cry, but with a MacGyver twist. You're building Supremo backpacks that shoot rockets and guns made out of motorcycle engines. I didn't expect this moment, but I spent way too much time just hanging out with my amigos, especially Chorizo, the little dog in a wheelchair. How can you not love that? Clearing out outposts with a silent bow or going full Rambo is as fun as it's ever been. My gripe? The gear system replaced the traditional skill tree, which I wasn't a huge fan of. It felt a bit like it was trying to be an RPG when it didn't need to be. But the world? It's massive and beautiful. This is where the game changed for me, when I stole a tank and just started liberating the countryside while listening to Latin pop. It's a high-octane, colorful life thief that's perfect for when you just want to blow stuff up in paradise. Watch Dogs Legion. This game had a crazy premise. Play as anyone, and honestly, it's a blast. This sensation of a near-future dystopian London is incredibly atmospheric. Walking through Piccadilly Circus with all the drones and neon lights is a memory of a smart open world that I really appreciated. You aren't a single hero, you're a resistance movement. The gameplay is all about the recruit loop. I spent hours just scanning NPCs to find the perfect team. I had a grandma who was a retired spy, a street artist with a paint bomb, and a professional hitman. That's when I realized something was different. When my favorite operative died, I played on Permadeath Road, I actually felt a pang of guilt. It made the stakes feel real. Hacking into the city's infrastructure to solve puzzles or take down enemies feels as hacker cool as ever. The story can feel a bit disconnected since there isn't one main protagonist to ground it, and some of the voice acting for the random NPCs can be a bit hit or miss, but the sheer playability of it is what steals your life. By the end, I wasn't the same person. I was a master recruiter who saw everyone on the street as a potential asset. It's a unique, valuable sandbox that offers a totally different flavor of open world. Number 13, Horizon Forbidden West. If you want a game that feels like a technical miracle, this is it. The sensation of stepping into the Forbidden West for the first time, seeing the red blight choking the land and those massive, terrifying machines is just pure awe. You play as Aloy, and the impactful emotion of her journey this time around feels much more personal. She's not just a hunter, she's carrying the weight of the entire planet on her back, and you really feel that pressure in every conversation. The gameplay is a masterpiece of tactical combat. I spent dozens of hours just hunting tremor pusks, these giant mechanical mammoths, systematically ripping off their cannons to use against them. This is where the game changed for me, when I got the Sunwing mount and realized I could fly across the entire map. It turned the world into a 3D playground. The detail in the character faces and the diverse biomes, from the jungles to the ruins of San Francisco, is just mind-blowing. I'll be honest, the skill tree can be a bit overwhelming at first, and there's a lot of loot to manage. But if you buy this game, you won't regret it. It's a polished, deep, and incredibly beautiful experience that respects your time by filling every corner with something worth seeing. It's a world that feels so alive, it makes other games look like they're made of cardboard. This is the kind of game you don't forget. 14. Elden Ring. What can I say about the game that redefined the genre? Elden Ring doesn't just steal your life, it becomes your life. The sensation of discovery here is the best I've ever experienced. There are no map icons screaming at you. You just see a massive golden tree on the horizon and you go. The memory of finding Siofra River, a whole galaxy hidden under the ground, is something I'll be talking about when I'm 80. The gameplay is the gold standard of tough but fair. Whether you're a heavy-armored knight or a spell-slinging mage, the freedom to build your character is insane. I didn't expect this moment, but I spent 3 days just trying to beat one optional boss, not because I had to, but because I wanted to prove I could. The impactful emotion of finally overcoming a challenge in the lands between is a high that other games just can't match. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it will make you want to throw your controller, and the lack of a traditional quest log means you actually have to pay attention. But this is the type of game that justifies the price. You're getting a 100-hour odyssey that treats you like an adult. It's a hauntingly beautiful, punishing, and profoundly rewarding masterpiece. It's not just a game, it's a legend. 15. Cyberpunk 2077. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Night City is the most impressive digital city ever built. The sensation of driving through the neon-soaked streets at night while the rain reflects off the asphalt is pure future noir perfection. Playing as V with Johnny Silverhand, Keanu Reeves, living in your head creates this unique, cynical, and deeply personal, impactful emotion. You aren't just saving the world, you're fighting for your own soul in a corporate hellscape. The gameplay, especially after the 2.0 update, is fast, visceral, and incredibly stylish. Whether you're quick hacking an entire building or using Sandevistan to move so fast time stands still, you feel like a total badass. That's when I realized something was different. I found myself just sitting in my car, listening to the radio and watching the NPCs live their lives, totally absorbed in the vibe. The characters like Panem and Judy feel more real than characters in almost any other RPG. The launch was rough, sure, but the game we have now is a 10 out of 10. My only gripe is that I wish I could interact with more of the buildings, but the sheer style of the world makes up for it. If you buy this game, you won't regret it. It's a gritty, neon-soaked life thief that shows just how far gaming has come. This is the kind of game you don't forget. 16. Kingdom Come: Deliverance II. To wrap this up, we have a game that feels like a literal time machine. Kingdom Come: Deliverance II captures the sensation of the Middle Ages like no other. You play as Henry, and his journey from a blacksmith's son to a warrior is so grounded and dirty. You have to eat, you have to sleep, and you even have to wash the blood off your armor so people don't get scared of you. It's a simulation that creates a memory of a real life lived. The gameplay is famously crunchy. The directional sword fighting has a steep learning curve, but once it clicks, it's the most satisfying combat in any RPG. By the end, I wasn't the same person. I went from a peasant who couldn't swing a stick to a knight who could hold his own against 3 bandits. The impactful emotion comes from the humor and the heart of Henry's story. It's a tale of revenge, but it's also a tale of friendship and ale. It's a hardcore game, and it can be punishing if you aren't patient, but here you feel that your money was worth it. It's a massive, authentic, and incredibly unique world that doesn't follow the usual fantasy tropes. It's muddy, it's bloody, and it's brilliant. If you want a game that will truly steal your life by making you live another one, this is the one. And that's the list. 16 open-world giants that don't just want your money, they want your soul. From the streets of Los Santos to the mud of medieval Bohemia, these are the worlds that raised the bar for what immersion really means. They're valuable because they give you experiences that stay with you long after the console is off. But hey, time is precious. Which one of these games stole the most hours from your life? Or is there a massive open world I missed that I need to go lose myself in right now? Let me know in the comments. I love seeing your takes.